Yeah. Namaste. Welcome back to the mathematics session, Mathematics 2A, De Moivre's theorem, second lesson by Usha Sri Madam, PGT Mathematics, Velimela, R.C. Puram Sangareddy, and you are all very familiar with Madam. So, Madam will continue the sessions of complex numbers with De Moivre's theorem. We'll be into the second session. I wish that all the students will take down all the key points and help themselves to learn better. So, madam, without wasting much of time, over to you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome, ma'am.
Good afternoon, the webinar team, and good afternoon, dear children. We'll continue with the De Moivre's theorem. On the other day, we were looking into what De Moivre's theorem is for integral index, right? Cos theta plus I sin theta whole power n is equal to cos n theta plus I sin n theta was the theorem which we have proved, and we try to apply the theorem in solving the problems. We have also discussed nth roots of a complex number. Now today, it is an extension of nth roots of a complex number. We will look into cube roots of unity, okay, and also fourth roots of unity. We will also try solving some problems based on the concepts what we discuss. Cube roots of unity. See, when we were discussing the nth roots of unity, we have taken z power 1 by n is equal to r power 1 by n into cis theta whole power 1 by n, isn't it? That was the general formula for nth roots of unity. But here we are just taking that n value as 3. So we are calling it as cube roots of unity. And when we were talking about nth roots of unity, we have defined it for any complex number. But here in specific, we are talking only about unity, that is the value 1. That means cube roots of unity, it implies z cube minus 1 is equal to 0, or z is equal to 1 power 1 by 3. Right, children? So the roots of the equation z cube minus 1 equal to 0 are called cube roots of unity. Okay? So z cube minus 1 is something like a cube minus b cube form. So we can always write z cube minus 1 is equal to z minus 1 into z square plus z plus 1 is equal to 0. Okay, for z minus 1 equal to 0, we can write the value directly like z equal to 1. But z square plus z plus 1 equal to 0 is taking the form of a quadratic equation. We have seen in our earlier sessions regarding this quadratic equation and its roots, children. If we have ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0 as a quadratic equation, then the roots of the equation will be given by x is equal to minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. Now just observe the second bracket what we have taken here, z square plus z plus 1 equal to 0. It's taking the form of a quadratic equation. So we can apply the quadratic equation formula. Instead of x, we have z. Okay, z is representing a complex number. So we will consider z square plus z plus 1 equal to 0. Then we will apply the formula x is equal to minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. Instead of x, we have z here in this particular equation. So we will write z is equal to b is 1, children. A is 1, C is 1. We have just taken the substitution of all these values in this formula. So we have minus 1 plus or minus root of 1 square minus 4 into 1 into 1 by 2 into 1. Right? So minus 1 plus or minus 1 minus 4, which gives you minus 3 under the root. As we have seen in quadratic equations topic, negative number square root is not defined, isn't it? But in complex numbers, we have seen the square root of a negative number. That is, we will try to write it as 3 into minus 1. So we can always rewrite this as root 3 into root of minus 1, which is nothing but I. So we can write this as minus 1 plus or minus I root 3 by 2. Okay. So Z has taken two values here, that is minus 1 plus I root 3 by 2 and minus 1 minus I root 3 by 2. Before we go for further steps, I want you to concentrate on this particular point, children. Z, see, we have an equation Z square plus Z plus 1 equal to 0. We got two roots. These two roots are complex numbers, and if you observe carefully, they are complex conjugates. So here we can mention a point that always complex roots occur in pairs. That means if we have a complex number as one of the roots of the equation, then automatically its conjugate also form a root of the given equation. Okay. This we will apply in the next coming topic in theory of equations. So I'm just mentioning that point here. Right. So already we have Z minus 1 equal to 0, children. So we got one root there. And just now we have calculated two roots. So here we say Z is equal to 1 omega square are the roots of the equation Z cube minus 1 equal to 0. What is this omega and omega square? Omega, we are defining it as minus 1 plus I root 3 by 2, and omega square is equal to minus 1 minus I root 3 by 2. Okay, so we call 1 omega square as cube roots of unity. And this cube roots of unity has got some importance in solving the problems, children. It follows certain steps or certain rules. What we have seen in nth roots of a complex number, we will go with a note. 1 plus omega square is equal to 0. See, when we have defined nth roots of a complex number, we said sum of the nth roots of unity, sum of the nth roots is 0. So look at this, what we are doing, 1 plus omega square. That means sum of all these cube roots of unity we are adding, isn't it? So the answer is 0. So sum of cube roots of unity is 0. And we also have omega cube is equal to 1. That means you take this omega, take whole cube, you will always get the value as 1. Okay. And not only that, we have omega bar. What is this omega bar? That is conjugate of omega is nothing but omega square, and conjugate of omega square is nothing but omega. Okay. And we have defined one more point, that is product of nth roots of a complex number follows one formula, that is I power minus I power n minus 1 into Z. That also follows here, children. Minus 1 minus I whole power, here we are taking cube root. So n is equal to 3 minus I whole power 3 minus 1. That is nothing but 2 minus I whole power 2. That is I square. I square is minus 1 into 1 gives you minus 1. That means product of cube roots of unity is giving you the value as minus 1. Okay. Then we will try to go with fourth roots of unity. Fourth roots of unity. fourth roots, z is equal to 1 power 1 by 4, isn't it? So we can write the roots of the equation z power 4 minus 1 equal to 0 are called fourth roots of unity. So z power 4 minus 1, we can always write it as z square minus 1 into z square plus 1 equal to 0. See, this is of the form a square minus b square. So here what is our a square? That is z square whole square minus 1 square whole square, isn't it? So we are writing it as z square minus 1 into z square plus 1 equal to 0. Then we can rewrite this as z square is equal to 1 and z square is equal to minus 1. Now z square equal to 1 will give you z is equal to plus or minus 1 as the roots, and z square is equal to minus 1 can be taken as z is equal to root of minus 1, which is nothing but plus or minus I. Just now we have seen, I've been telling, like if you have a complex root, its conjugate also appears, isn't it? They occur in pairs. So if I is a root of the complex number, then minus I also should be a root of the complex number. So totally we have fourth roots of unity. So Z should take 4 values, that is 1, minus 1, I and minus I. So we can conclude saying the fourth roots of unity are plus or minus 1 and plus or minus I. Sum of the fourth roots of unity is 0. Then product of fourth roots of unity is minus 1. In the complex plane, these roots form a square. What are these roots? 1, minus 1, I and minus I. When we talk of I is nothing but 0, 1, children. 0, 1 will be on the y-axis, isn't it? Minus I is 0, minus 1. Yes, 0, minus 1. And likewise, 1, when we say 1 is 1, 0, and minus 1 is minus 1, 0. If you mark this on the graph, it forms a square. So fourth roots of unity always form a square in the complex plane. We will look into some problems, children. If n is an integer, then show that 1 plus I whole power 2n plus 1 minus I whole power 2n is equal to 2 power n plus 1 into cos n pi by 2. First, we will consider 1 plus I. We will try to reduce this into modulus amplitude form, children. Then 1 plus I is equal to r into cos theta plus I sin theta. We need to calculate the value of r. R is the modulus. Modulus will be calculated with the formula root of square of the real part plus square of the imaginary part. Now, if x plus iy is a complex number, x and y will take real and imaginary part. Here, x takes the value as 1 and y is also 1. So we have the formula x is equal to, r is equal to root of x square plus y square. So when we calculate r value, we will get it as r is equal to root of 1 plus 1, which is nothing but 2, isn't it? Under root. Okay. So root of 2 will be the r value. And we have amplitude. Calculation of amplitude will be taken by the formula tan theta is equal to y by x. Okay. So tan theta here, y is 1, x is also 1. So tan theta is 1. This implies theta is equal to pi by 4. Right? So 1 plus I whole power 2n is, it can be written as root 2 into cos pi by 4 plus I sin pi by 4 whole power 2n. First, by taking 1 plus I, we have calculated r and theta. Then we are applying 1 plus I whole power 2n, right? Then for this 1 plus I whole power 2n, we have a formula. On the other day, we were discussing the De Moivre's theorem statement. Cis theta whole power n is equal to cos n theta plus I sine n theta, isn't it? So here we are just trying to apply the same formula over here. 1 plus I whole power 2n is equal to 2 power n into cos 2n pi by 4 plus I sine 2n pi by 4. Now, similarly, when we have calculated 1 plus I whole power 2n, we can also calculate 1 minus I whole power 2n. Since 1 plus I and 1 minus I both are conjugates, we can write it as 2 power n into cos of 2n pi by 4 minus I sine 2n pi by 4. Now, the question is 1 plus I whole power 2n plus 1 minus I whole power 2n. So we need to add these two, isn't it? So 2 power n into cos 2n pi by 4 plus I sine 2n pi by 4 plus 2 power n into cos 2n pi by 4 minus I sine 2n pi by 4. On your right hand side, children, if you can observe, 2 power n is common in both the terms. So we will take 2 power n common. Then we will have cos 2n pi by 4 plus I sine 2n pi by 4 plus cos 2n pi by 4 minus I sine 2n pi by 4. So I sine 2n pi by 4 and minus I sine 2n pi by 4, they get cancelled. So you have 2 power n into cos 2n pi by 4 plus cos 2n pi by 4. It gives you 2 cos 2n pi by 4. See, 2 power n into 2. So you will have it as 2 power n plus 1. 2 power n plus 1 into cos 2n pi by 4. This 2 and 4, when we cancel, we will get it as cos n pi by 2 here. So therefore, we can conclude saying 1 plus I whole power 2n plus 1 minus I whole power 2n is equal to 2 power n plus 1 into cos n pi by 2. And this is almost the problem, half of the problem is based on complex number modulus amplitude form, children. Once we complete calculating modulus amplitude form, we have applied the De Moivre's theorem. Then whatever he is asking, that we have summed up. So we have concluded saying the given statement. We'll see one more problem. If n is an integer and z is equal to cis theta, where theta is not equal to 2n plus 1 into pi by 2, then show that z power 2n minus 1 by z power 2n plus 1 is equal to I tan n theta. Now you are given with z is equal to cis theta. We will consider our LHS. Z power 2n minus 1 by z power 2n plus 1. Right? So z power 2n is nothing but cis theta whole power 2n. Now this is like De Moivre's theorem application, children. So you can always rewrite it as cis 2n theta. We will apply this cis 2n theta in the left hand side of the problem. Z power 2n is cis 2n theta. What is cis 2n theta? Cos 2n theta plus I sine 2n theta minus 1 by cos 2n theta plus I sine 2n theta plus 1. Now, we are rearranging the real and imaginary parts, children. So we have it as cos 2n theta minus 1 plus I sine 2n theta divided by cos 2n theta plus 1 plus I sine 2n theta. Now, if you can recollect your trigonometry formulae, which you have studied in your first year, children, we have cos 2n theta is equal to 2 cos square n theta minus 1. We also have cos 2n theta is equal to 1 minus 2 sine square n theta. Not only this, we have few more formulae for cos 2n theta, but what is applicable here we are just considering. Now, why two formulas for same cos 2n theta? The reason for this is, just observe the numerator and denominator terms with cos 2n theta combination. Cos 2n theta minus 1 you have, cos 2n theta plus 1 you have. See, our target here is to remove 1 from this particular term by applying the appropriate formula here. Okay. Now, if I take the first formula, I can apply this only where I have plus 1. When I have minus 1 here, I should go with plus 1 in the formula so that 1 gets cancelled. Okay, that is the reason why we are taking a mention of two formulae for cos 2n theta. We also have sin 2n theta is equal to 2 sin n theta cos n theta. Okay, we will make use of all these three formulae in this step, children. So when we do that, here I have minus 1. So I am choosing a formula from here where we have plus 1. Hope you're observing that. So 1 minus 2 sine square n theta minus 1 plus I sine 2n theta is 2 sine n theta cos n theta. Similarly, cos 2n theta plus 1, we are taking the first formula, that is 2 cos square n theta minus 1 plus 1 plus I into 2 sin n theta cos n theta. Now, in the numerator, 1 and minus 1 get cancelled. In the denominator also, minus 1 and plus 1, they get cancelled. Then you will be left with minus 2 sine square n theta plus I into 2 sine n theta cos n theta, isn't it? From these two terms, we are taking minus 2 sine n theta common. When we do that, from here minus 2 sine n theta is out. So you have sine n theta. Here we are removing minus here, so, plus here. So it should be minus in between. So minus I cos n theta. Similarly, in the denominator, 2 cos n theta is taken common. So you have 2 cos n theta plus 2 cos n theta plus I sin n theta in the bracket. Okay. So 2 and 2, numerator and denominator 2's, they get cancelled. Then you will be left with sin n theta into sin n theta minus I cos n theta by cos n theta into cos n theta plus I sin n theta. Then minus sin n theta. See, actually minus is missing here, children. You please make a note of this. Minus sin n theta. Here, see, you observe the bracket part, what you have in the numerator. In the bracket part, what we have is sin n theta minus I cos n theta. But the general form, when we talk of modulus amplitude or De Moivre's theorem, we have cos theta plus I sin theta, isn't it? So just to make, to get the form of cis theta, we are introducing one term, children, minus I square in front of sin n theta. What is the value of minus I square? I square is minus 1. Minus 1 into minus, it becomes plus 1. So we are introducing 1 here, in fact, isn't it? Instead of 1, we are writing minus I square sin n theta. Hope you are following this. Then minus sin n theta, and from this bracket, we are taking minus I common. When I take minus I common, look at this minus I is out. So you have cos n theta. Here minus I is out. So you should be taking plus I sin n theta. Now observe this, cos n theta plus I sin n theta is the standard form what we were expecting. To get this, we are just introducing this particular term. Hope you got that. Then cos n theta plus I sin n theta in the numerator and denominator, we can cancel. Then we have I minus into minus, which is plus I sin n theta by cos n theta leaves the answer as tan n theta. So you have I tan n theta in your RHS. Therefore, we can say z power 2n minus 1 by z power 2n plus 1 is equal to I tan n theta. Now, this is a question which is a direct application of De Moivre's theorem, children. Find the value of root 3 by 2 plus 1 by 2i whole power 12. Let root 3 by 2 plus 1 by 2i is equal to r cis theta. Now here we have r is equal to real part square plus imaginary part square, children. That is root of root 3 by 2 whole square plus 1 by 2 whole square. This is root 3 by 2 is nothing but 3 by 4 plus 1 by 4, which is 4 by 4. 4 by 4 is 1. 1 under root is r is equal to 1. Then tan theta is y by x, or theta is equal to tan inverse of y by x. What is y over here? It is nothing but 1 by 2, and x is root 3 by 2. 2 and 2, they get cancelled. So you have theta is equal to tan inverse 1 by root 3. So theta is equal to tan inverse 1 by root 3. It means theta is equal to pi by 6. But what is that we need to calculate? We need to calculate root 3 by 2 plus 1 by 2i whole power 12, isn't it? We have calculated only the value of root 3 by 2 plus 1 by 2i is equal to r cis theta. So root 3 by 2 plus 1 by 2i can be taken as cos pi by 6 plus I sin pi by 6. R value is 1. So you are getting it as cis pi by 6. Now root 3 by 2 plus 1 by 2i whole power 12 is cos pi by 6 plus I sin pi by 6 whole power 12. We have the De Moivre's theorem statement, that is cos theta plus I sin theta whole power n is equal to cos n theta plus I sin n theta. Here the value of n is 12, children. So we will just substitute in the statement what we have for De Moivre's theorem. So you have cos 12 pi by 6 plus I sin 12 pi by 6. 6 and 12, they cancel each other, leaving 2 pi over here. So we will have cos 2 pi plus I sin 2 pi. Cos 2 pi is 1, sin 2 pi is 0. So we have it as 1 plus I into 0. Therefore, we can say root 3 by 2 plus 1 by 2i whole power 12 is equal to 1. Now I have taken an integral power for this problem. We will try to see another problem with some fractional power. We have find all the roots of 1 minus I root 3 whole power 1 by 3. Now, as usual, we will try to consider 1 minus I root 3 is equal to r cis theta. So r is root of x square plus y square, where x and y are real and imaginary parts of a given complex number, x plus iy, right? So here r is equal to root of 1 square plus minus root 3 whole square under root. So you have r is equal to 2, children. 1 plus minus square is plus root 3 whole square is 3. So 1 plus 3, 4 under root is 2. So r is equal to 2. We have the formula theta is equal to tan inverse y by x. So theta is equal to tan inverse minus root 3 by 1, which implies theta is equal to minus pi by 3. So we can write 1 minus I root 3 is equal to 2 into cis minus pi by 3. Therefore, we can write 1 minus I root 3 whole power 1 by 3 is equal to 2 into cis minus pi by 3 whole power 1 by 3. Now you have whole power, children. That means this power will be taken for 2 and also cis theta, isn't it? So we have a formula when we were calculating nth roots of a complex number. Z power 1 by n is equal to r power 1 by n cis 2k pi plus theta by n, where k takes the values from 0 to n minus 1. Here our n is 3. So it takes up to 3 minus 1, which is 2. That means k can take the values as 0, 1, 2 in this case. Okay. So we can write this as 2 power 1 by 3 cis 2k pi minus our theta is minus pi by 3. So minus pi by 3 divided by our n value is 3. Therefore divided by 3. And k is taking a value, as I was saying, as 0, 1 and 2. Now 2k pi minus pi by 3 divided by 3. Now if you simplify in the numerator, your LCM is 3. So you will get it as 6k pi minus pi. 3 and this 3 in the denominator gives you 9. Okay, children? So 6k pi minus pi by 9. Out of this, if you take pi, you will have it as 6k minus 1 into pi by 9. Therefore, 2 power 1 by 3 cis 6k minus 1 into pi by 9, where k is equal to 0, 1, 2 are the values for the given complex number 1 minus I root 3 whole power 1 by 3. That means first we'll get a value when we substitute k equal to 0, then k equal to 1, then k equal to 2. That is totally 3 different values you are going to get. We will see one more problem of the same type, children. Here the thing is, directly he has not given any complex number. He has given minus 32 whole power 1 by 3. By looking at this, maybe you will not be in a position to tell like whether we can take r cis theta or not. But here we can always rewrite minus 32 whole power 1 by 5 as 32 into minus 1 whole power 1 by 5. Then that 32 can be taken as 2 power 5 whole power 1 by 5. Then minus 1 whole power 1 by 5. Now, if you look at this minus 1 whole power 1 by 5, I think by this time you will get the idea that you should take minus 1 is equal to r cis theta and proceed with the problem. So, here 5 and 5 gets cancelled, children. You will be left with 2. So, minus 32 whole power 1 by 5 can be taken as 2 into minus 1 whole power 1 by 5. So we'll consider minus 1 as r cis theta. Then the modulus will be calculated by root of minus 1 square plus 0 square, because you don't have any imaginary part here. So we are getting 0. Minus 1 whole square is 1. 1 under root is 1. So you have r is equal to 1. And we have theta is equal to tan inverse. Your y value is 0. 0 by minus 1. 0 by minus 1 is nothing but pi. So theta is pi. So minus 1 can be taken as cis pi, cos pi plus I sin pi. So minus 32 whole power 1 by 5 can be rewritten as 2 into cis pi whole power 1 by 5. We have the formula again, that is z power 1 by n is equal to r power 1 by n cis 2k pi plus theta by n, where k takes the value as 0, 1, 2 and so on till n minus 1. Here our n value is 5, children. So it takes the value, k takes the value up to 4, isn't it? 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So you can write this as 2 cis 2k pi plus pi by 5, where k is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So when you substitute k equal to 0, you will get pi by 5 over here. When you take k equal to 1, then you have 2 pi plus pi, which is 3 pi by 5. Then you have k is equal to 2. That is 2 into 2, 4 pi plus pi, which is 5 pi by 5. And then when you take k is equal to 3, you will have 6 pi plus pi, which is 7 pi by 5. And likewise, when you take 4, you will get 9 pi by 5. Then 5 and 5 gets cancelled. Therefore, you have the values as 2 cis pi by 5, 2 cis 3 pi by 5, 2 cis pi, 2 cis 7 pi by 5, and 2 cis 9 pi by 5. Here, children, this type of questions you can expect for 7 marks. We have 2 marks and 7 mark questions from this chapter for your intermediate examinations. Now, we are taking a problem based on cube roots of unity. If 1 omega omega square are the cube roots of unity, then prove that x plus y plus z into x plus y omega plus z omega square into z plus y omega square plus z omega is equal to x cube plus y cube plus z cube minus 3xyz. This is the statement we need to prove. Okay, when we talk of cube roots of unity, children, we have observed few points over there. We will try to take a mention of that. 1 plus omega square is equal to 0 is one point what we have taken as a conclusion. And we have also taken omega cube is equal to 1. We will try applying these two concepts in the problem what we are discussing right now. So we will consider the LHS part. When we consider the LHS part, I would like to go with multiplication of the second and third bracket parts first. I will keep this XYZ as it is. All at a time when you go with, you may get confused. So first bracket, I'm keeping it as it is. Second and third, we will start multiplying. So you have x plus y plus z into x into x, which is x square, plus xy omega square, plus xz omega, plus yx or xy omega, plus y into y, which is y square, omega into omega square is omega cube, plus y into z, yz, omega into omega, omega square, plus z into x, which is xz omega square, plus z omega square into y omega square, that is yz omega power 4, plus z square omega cube. This is ordinary multiplication what we are taking, children, which you have done in your previous classes. Now, you have x plus y plus z, and what we have calculated, I have just taken the same step. Here, you can clearly observe two important terms. Omega cube. We know the value of omega cube, so we can substitute. Okay. And then omega power 4, when you have omega power 4 can be taken as omega cube into omega. Okay. So we take omega cube is equal to 1 and omega power 4 is omega. How? Omega cube into omega, which is nothing but omega. Omega cube is 1. So omega power 4 is omega. We will substitute these two values in the above step. We have it as x is equal to x plus y plus z into x square plus xy omega square plus xz omega plus xy omega plus y square. Omega cube is 1, children. Then plus yz omega square plus xz omega square. Here instead of omega power 4, we are rewriting it as omega, and omega cube is replaced with 1. Hope you got this. Then x plus y plus z into x square plus y square plus z square. I'm rearranging the terms. Then I'm taking omega square common from the terms wherever we find omega square. Then we have one xy, then yz, and also xz with omega square. Likewise, we are taking omega also common, children. Then you have omega with this, see, xy. So xy, then yz, and also xz. Right? Then observe this carefully. Here in this bracket, you have xy plus yz plus zx. Here also you have the same. But into omega square and omega, from these two terms, I can always take xy plus yz plus zx common. Okay? So when you do that, x plus y plus z into x square plus y square plus z square plus xy plus yz plus zx into omega square plus omega. But omega square plus omega is -1. How? We have one deduction or the conclusion, that is 1 plus omega square is equal to 0, which implies omega square plus omega is equal to -1. So we are just replacing this bracket with -1. Then we have x plus y plus z into x square plus y square plus z square plus xy plus yz plus zx into -1. Then we have, see children, when we multiply with -1, we have this as x square plus y square plus z square minus xy minus yz minus zx. We have a formula in our class 9, right? So when you have x plus y plus z into x square plus y square plus z square minus xy minus yz minus zx, you can rewrite it as x cube plus y cube plus z cube minus 3xyz. Therefore, this is your RHS which is required. Hence, we can conclude saying x plus y plus z into x plus y omega plus z omega square into x plus y omega square plus z omega is equal to x cube plus y cube plus z cube minus 3xyz. One more problem based on this cube roots of unity. 1 by 2 plus omega plus 1 by 1 plus 2 omega. We have to show that it is equal to 1 by 1 plus omega. We'll take the LHS part, children. 1 by 1 by 2 plus omega plus 1 by 1 plus 2 omega. Take the LCM. Then when you take the LCM, your numerator will be 1 plus 2 omega plus 2 plus omega. Then we have the numerator as 3 plus 3 omega. So 3 can be taken common. Then when you do so, you will have 3 into 1 plus omega divided by 2 plus, we are expanding this, 2 plus 4 omega plus omega plus omega into 2 omega is nothing but 2 omega square. Now, 2 plus 2 omega square. From these two terms, we can take 2 common. Then 3 into 1 plus omega by 2 into 1 plus omega square plus 4 omega plus omega is 5 omega. We are just taking the same step. I can take this as, look at this. See, we have 1 plus omega square is 0. So we can write 1 plus omega is minus omega square and 1 plus omega square is minus omega. So instead of 1 plus omega square, we are replacing minus omega. We are not disturbing the numerator, children. So 3 into 1 plus omega by 2 into minus omega plus 5 omega. That is 3 omega we have. Isn't it? So 3 and 3 can be cancelled. You have it as 1 plus omega by omega as your answer from the previous step. Now we will multiply and divide this with 1 plus omega by 1 plus omega. Why so? We need to prove the answer as 1 by 1 plus omega. We don't have 1 by 1 plus omega or 1 plus omega in the denominator, we don't have. So just to get that, I'm multiplying and dividing in the numerator as well as denominator. Okay. Then just expand the numerator part. You have 1 plus omega whole square. So 1 plus 2 omega plus omega square. In the denominator, you have omega into 1 plus omega. Then look at your numerator part. 1 plus omega square. 1 plus omega square is minus omega. So when you take 1 plus omega square as minus omega, it becomes 2 omega minus omega, which is nothing but omega, right? Omega by omega into 1 plus omega. So these two get cancelled. You will be left with 1 by 1 plus omega, which is nothing but your RHS. This is an important problem, children. Many times this has appeared in IPE exams. We will try taking one more problem on cube roots of unity. If 1 omega square are the cube roots of unity, then find the value of 1 plus b omega, sorry, a plus b omega plus c omega square by c plus a omega plus b omega square plus a plus b omega plus c omega square by b plus c omega plus a omega square. We will consider the given statement. Clearly, the numerators in both the brackets are same. So we can take the numerator common and we can write it as 1 by c plus a omega plus b omega square plus 1 by b plus c omega plus a omega square. We will take LCM and then go for the expansion. Then you have a plus b omega plus c omega square into, in the numerator we have b plus c omega plus a omega square plus c plus a omega plus b omega square. Now we have a plus b omega plus c omega square. Denominator is taken as it is. In the numerator, we will take a common wherever we have. Then we will get omega plus omega square from these two terms. Okay. Then we'll take b common, children, from this term and also this. Then we'll have 1 plus omega square. Then take c common from these two terms. Then you'll have 1 plus omega. We will try making use of the formula, that is 1 plus omega square equal to 0. Right? So when we take omega plus omega square, this value becomes minus 1. 1 plus omega square, it becomes minus omega. 1 plus omega becomes minus omega square. The same thing we are substituting here. Hope you are able to observe that. Now, this is equal to, observe this, the numerator part, each term has got a minus sign. So we are taking minus out. So you have a plus b omega plus c omega square. And here you have a plus b omega plus c omega square, right? Divided by c plus a omega plus b omega square, b plus c omega plus a omega square. I want you to observe the numerator and denominator here. Numerator, of course, the two brackets what you have are similar. But just observe in the numerator, A plus B omega plus C omega square you have. Here you have A omega, B omega square and C. A, B, C are similar. Only thing is you have a difference of omega or omega square in the brackets when you observe. Just to simplify this further, we are multiplying and dividing with omega cube. So omega cube is 1, children. In the denominator also, I'm taking it as omega cube only. But only thing is, we are taking omega square into omega, that's all. Now this omega square, I will multiply with the first bracket in the denominator. And then this omega, I will multiply with the second bracket. Let's see what happens. In the numerator, of course, omega cube is 1. So 1 into anything is the same. So you have minus A plus B omega plus C omega square, A plus B omega plus C omega square only. But when you multiply in the denominator, the first bracket with omega square, then look at this, A omega into omega square is omega cube. Omega cube is 1. So you're left with A. Then B omega square into omega square, it becomes B omega power 4. B omega power 4 is omega, so it is B omega. Then C into omega square is C omega square. Likewise, when we multiply omega with the second bracket in the denominator, observe this. A omega square into omega is A omega cube. Omega cube is 1. Okay, so you are getting it as A. Then B into omega. Then C omega into omega is C omega square. Why did we do this? Now, after multiplying, just observe. You are getting the numerator and denominator terms to be same. It is very easy for us to cancel the terms now. Hope you are observing. Then you have the answer as minus 1. Therefore, we can conclude saying A plus B omega plus C omega square by C plus A omega plus B omega square plus A plus B omega plus C omega square divided by B plus C omega plus A omega square is equal to minus 1. Now, all these questions, whatever we have discussed today, they cover 2 and 7 mark questions for the intermediate exams, children. I want you to go through the slides once again, and I want you to practice the problems as much as possible. Here are some application questions, what we have discussed today. Some practice questions. You can take a screenshot of this. Now, the first question, I would like to leave a hint. If alpha, beta are the complex cube roots of unity, the words here are very important. Here, there is a mention of cube roots of unity. See, we have seen cube roots of unity as 1 omega and omega square, right? He didn't give you 1 here. That means alpha and beta should be taken as omega and omega square and proceed with your problem. Right? Then the second question, if alpha, beta are the roots of the equation. See, there is a difference between first and second questions. First question, they are cube roots of unity. In the second question, they are roots of the equation. So this is a quadratic equation. You know how to solve that. Then once you solve it, you take one of the roots as alpha and the second one as beta. And then you go with the modulus amplitude form, then application of De Moivre's theorem and solve this problem. You have few more questions, children. Some problems I have given with rational power or rational index. And we have taken some problems over here with cube roots of unity concept. Please try them. And if you have any doubts, you can contact your respective lecturers, or you can post in the comment box. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. That was a very interesting session. And I am sure for all the students, complex numbers has become simple numbers, and all the complex solutions also in a very simple manner, they are able to solve it. And I am sure that the students would have noted down, and the problems also for practice were very nicely selected and given, madam. I am sure by practicing these, the students are going to definitely benefit and learn the concept more thoroughly. And doubts, I think there were no doubts, madam, but there were one or two students who were solving the problems in the chat when I saw. So it was really a very interesting session. Thank you very much, madam.
And in the practice questions, sir, one or two questions what I've selected, they were given in previous MSET and JEE mains exam. So
Oh,
it's better they practice even those questions.
yeah, very nice, madam. Thank you. Thank you. Very well selected. Very nice work.
Yes, thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. Welcome, ma'am.